welcome to another Huddle Breakdown Extra Time. I'm your host, Martin Murphy, joined as ever by James and by Alan. How are you guys?
Sound.
Enjoying the week. It's been
it's been hilarious,
interesting and fun week so far.
Grinning like Cheshire Cat. So we've got a lot to pack into the show, and I'll start off by welcoming Scott McPike, who spoke to Alan today, and really interesting segment. Scott's a Rangers fan, so there was a great discussion about the match there between him and Alan. There was a lot of questions James had put forward as well. A really interesting guy. You can find information on him on SM Media, and we'll be giving you a wee bit more detail on that later.
So delighted to welcome Scott McPike to the show, and just saying before we started there to Scott, you know, as a Rangers fan, very brave of him to come on to a Celtic podcast. So Scott, listen, for those that don't know you, and they may do through your SM Media account and all the work that you do there, you want to just give yourself an introduction and talk a little bit about what SM Media does as well.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks very much for having me, Alan. It's a real pleasure to be here. In terms of kind of what SM Media does, it's more kind of Scottish football, kind of looking at things maybe differently to how kind of mainstream looks at it. Maybe looking like we cover a lot of non-league stuff, like obviously being from where I'm from, kind of Ayrshire. We focus a lot on kind of West of Scotland, the Lowland League kind of stuff as well. There's a lot of SPL stuff we do. Obviously, both Rangers and Celtic podcasts, they do come out. I think it's kind of every couple of weeks. We've kind of been doing them lately, but they've all been kind of going back to doing every week. Some fantastic people join there. You've been on yourself, Alan. You kind of know how we do it. But we obviously do a lot of Scottish football stuff. We do a lot of kind of historical content as well. Like, we've got a Patreon as well. We do a lot of historical stuff. We cover a lot of other sports as well. We do golf, racing. We're doing a boxing podcast this week with the big fight coming up. So we've got a lot of stuff going on. But as always, as I say, Scottish football is kind of the heart of what we do.
Amazing. I mean, Scottish football is such a rich story and rich tapestry, as I always say. Even when you go down to the, like you say, the kind of lower leagues and the what's called the juniors, or would be called non-league in England where I am. But there's still many storied. Many storied sort of clubs and characters around there. Do you want to just give a little bit of a flavour of some of the things you do in that space?
So like obviously we do a lot of, we've got a West of Scotland football show, East of Scotland football show, we've got a women's football show as well that we do, kind of covering SWPL, so obviously Celtic women pop up in that. We do as well, we've got our own kind of, we do like drafts and things like that as well, like people who listen to SM Media know I'm a bit of American sports fan, so we kind of cover drafts and things like that. We look at kind of power rankings. We do a lot of stuff in terms of that regard. We've also got, obviously, we say kind of Celtic report goes out kind of every couple of weeks. We do that usually. We do that after big games. So that, I think the next one is due out on the 3rd of January. So that'll be an interesting show. And then obviously, like as we say, we've been ranking manager signings recently with Ronnie Dyle at the moment, if you're keen on that. So we've done part 2 of Ronnie Dyle's signing, so that'll be interesting for a lot of Celtic fans if they want to check that out. And as I say, it is just more about kind of finding a balance between historical content and kind of modern stuff, because like, as I say, like, Scottish football never stops. There's always a lot going on. We've obviously got the Refs View, which is obviously a referees podcast. We've got a couple of ex-Grade 1 referees. They come on and do that every week as well. So we had a busy weekend this weekend, I'm sure we'll get into. But that's obviously...
No, we're not talking about that.
Yeah, but that's obviously like a big kind of part of what we do. So we do a lot of stuff, but it is kind of mainly like Scottish football, and you will find occasionally golf. We do a horse racing podcast every week, obviously. Bit of a Cheltenham Festival fan, so that kind of does every week as well. But in terms of kind of Celtic and Rangers, we do a lot of kind of like player ratings go out at kind of after every game, and kind of analysis, and mostly kind of analysis. Kind of you'll see it kicking about, as I say. Like if you check out SM Media, you'll see a lot of stuff in terms of analysis and kind of historical content that's going out soon. So yeah, it'll be good.
Brilliant, thanks a lot for that. And so, you know, Scottish sport is a rich topic and a rich mind to see. So check out SM Media. So this is getting back to the game, dragging you back to the dark place then, Scott. So let's just take you back to the game then. So, you know, lineups are announced. I must admit, James and I's kind of eyes. And by the way, the reason James isn't here, and he would have, he'd have talked to you at great length, no doubt, about your drafts and your American sports and what have you, because he loves all that. But we're recording this in the morning, so it's not convenient US time. But our eyes were raised a little bit that he went with a lineup that included Bahrami, Hadji, Sherny, and Digamani, and I was actually, my initial reaction was I was pleased because I thought, oh, he's going to go for it here, and it's going to make the game an open game, and that's going to suit us. And of course, I was wrong. But what were your thoughts in terms of when you saw the lineup, and were you happy, or would you prefer?
I wasn't overly surprised with that. I thought again, Agamani's obviously deserved his place. I was maybe surprised he didn't start Danilo, but I did see the thing of if it's still kind of in the. It's still open, and after half time I can understand why he brought Danilo on, which he eventually did. The two that surprised me was Diamande and Tavernier. I thought, again, people have been on about it. I've been on about it probably more than anybody. I think the Tavernier Maeda thing was a real concern going into that game, for the simple reason that I think Tavernier's got Maeda in his head. I think that's maybe the sign he's regressed. I think he thinks every single right winger's going to give him left winger's going to give him a problem that Dyson Maeda did. I wasn't overly surprised he kept him in because he has improved his form. I thought Barron was quite unlucky not to start. But overall, in terms of the forward line, I wasn't overly surprised that he went with that. Bayrami, I thought was a real interesting one because I think he actually had a really, really important role to play, as we'll probably get into. But Hadji's been in form. Igaman's really kind of impressed over the past few weeks, and Czerny's been. I think Czerny pound for pound's been Rangers' best option attacking wise. So I wasn't overly surprised. And as that kind of cup final thing, I think if it was a league game, I think it would maybe have a different approach. I think he'd maybe have put Diamande in there instead of Hadji and moved by Rami left just to shore up the midfield.
We hope you enjoyed this free preview from all of us here at the Huddle Breakdown. We know you have options and we really appreciate you tuning in. To hear the rest of this episode and for much more Huddle Breakdown content, head on over to www.huddlebreakdown.com. We hope you consider subscribing. Thank you.